everybody. This is our first edition of Our Story, and what a better way to start than starting off with some of the founders of Eagle Ridge Academy that are still here, some of the founding teachers. So our story is about learning more about us personally. It's about human being and not human doing. And first of all, I want to go ahead and have everybody introduce themselves. We'll start with Aaron.
I'm Erin Johnson. Currently, I'm the Dean of Students for K-12. In the past, when I was originally hired, I was hired to teach grades 6 and 9, social studies for 6th grade and humanities for 9th grade. And then over the years, I've made a shift into teaching full-time humanities. I taught grades 9, 10, and 11 content-wise. I taught economics, composition, the college advisor, and a few different other roles over my time here.
And she has two students here.
I do. I have two students here.
Yeah.
I have my 5th grader and a 2nd grader, and another one will come up in a couple years.
I'm Carolyn Summers Tillotson. When I started out here, I was Carolyn Summers. I got married in 2007. I have a daughter here, Alice, now in 1st grade. But I was hired to originally teach 6th, 7th, and 9th grade science. And then over the course of the years as we expanded, and then I went part-time, I am teaching 7th grade science now. But for several years, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science. So, and was on the board of directors for 5.5 years, and various committees and other things that have occurred.
Carolyn and I got to teach together the year, actually before coming to Eagle Ridge, so she and I have had a long history.
Right. We went to a job fair together and talked to Cindy Ripple, the kind of co-founder of the school, with her husband and others.
Yeah.
And
interviewed on the same day
at the
jobs.
library.
At a library.
And I think it's kind of neat, just the cycles of life over the last decades where you weren't married prior to, and now you have kids and working part-time, so you can kind of try to balance that, work and being a wife and mom. So, generations.
My kids all grew up while I was a teacher at Eagle Ridge Academy, all the hours and things, and they run the halls. My name is Lisa Johnson, and I've taught art in various forms, taught initially when we opened with grades 6, 7, and 9, and then each year when we added, and then when we got too many students, we added other art teachers, and I've now transitioned to where I teach art history right now, and also advanced placement art history classes. So that's my role.
And I'm Bob Gulick, and as with the others, I joined first year. I started, as we all did, teaching 6th, 7th, and 9th because that's all there was to teach. And since that time, I've kind of narrowed down my scope. I now only teach 6th, 7th, and I've had 8th graders as well. And it's been middle school math the whole time. So whereas I think most of your experiences have expanded, mine have stayed pretty narrow the whole time.
So I look over here, and all three of you either have children in the school or have had. Tell us a little bit about being a teacher, working here, kind of blending those lives. How does that work? And why do you
really sure.
I think I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah.
Constant challenge. Well, I decided to go part-time to really get more time at home with my kids and be able to manage teaching and home life. But I see myself coming back full-time eventually as the kids are a bit older.
I don't think it was too challenging to kind of make that transition. I had the 1 and then I had the 3-year gap. So by that point, then I had a couple of years under my belt by the time Nico came along and got into kindergarten. And it's just sort of been a natural part of their life. Like, they've always been in whatever building we happen to be in. They've kind of grown up there. They would come in to work with me on a weekend or, come with me in the summertime or something like that. So they were always here. They half the time knew their way around better than I did. And then, so it was just their natural thing. So coming to work with me, they've never known anything different. This has always just been the way it's been for them. So But I also know it's one of the things I was talking about with like new parents and families here is that you hear so many times where there are teachers who say, I wouldn't want my kids to go to this school, or like doctors who say, I wouldn't want my family treated in this clinic, but I can say the exact opposite. I send my kids here for a reason. I know who the teachers are, I know what they believe in, I know what the curriculum is, I know what we teach are our values, and those are the same things that I do with my own kids at home, so why not just continue it here? That's why they're here. And they love it. They think it's great. And they use the whole pillar thing in everyday speak at our house. People got really excited and talked about how he persevered in getting his belts in his Taekwondo class. It was an easier transition, I guess, than I anticipated. If I had my kids in another school and then tried to make that transition, I don't know if it would have been so easy. But they would just have always known this. They've never known anything differently, so they just knew it was time for them to come here and learn.
So, speaking of knowing nothing, not knowing anything differently, and hearing sometimes you guys talking
Talking to the right people.
We knew nothing when we came here.
hear you guys talking about the good old days. And there's 4 of you left. And Dr. Rockcastle was here.
He came that first
Yeah,
year.
he came that
Probably
first
through the
year.
first year.
So
But he left.
he left, right?
Now he's back.
He realized his mistake.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the good old days. What are some really great things happened? Some crazy stories. What are anything to share?
Well, back then we knew everybody's name, and on staff we could all fit on the same couch pretty much.
We did in
I have a
Lisa's
picture
house.
in my room.
First Christmas party in my house.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have lots of parties at Lisa's.
She
She
has
over
a
there in
pool.
summer. Yeah, she has a pool.
Yes.
Mhm.
We had the mercury incident. The mercury spill.
That was
Now,
the
what
first
year was
one.
that?
That was year
wasn't
3.
That was
Year
on
3?
Or 4.
October 11, 2007. I was really involved in that incident. Yeah, I didn't get to wear a hazmat suit, though. That was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, I had to wear that too. I
Oh.
threw my shoes away.
I was going
This
to
was
for this
in this incident?
This
or-
incident
yeah,
should
because
be deleted, actually.
Yeah, we used to have morning meeting every day. All the students.
Yeah, what was the
One
morning
big
meeting?
forum.
What did you guys do in the morning
We
meeting?
read this day in history.
Yes.
We read this day in
Yes.
history and
Yes.
talked about major events and
How many students did you have in that at that time?
About 100.
I mean, yeah, I think we started the year with like just under 150,
Yeah, I
it was
think it was like
130.
two sections for 3 classes.
Yeah. And then the 9th grade class ended up dwindling down
Yeah.
that first year, and then
Well, our first graduating class, which would have been in 9th grade, was 12?
19
No, it was more than
19?
19 people, I
19 make
think.
it through?
Something
Wow.
like that.
Sometimes it amazes me, like, what convinced us?
Convinced
Well,
us
things
to
too,
stay.
like now, like everybody
Startup.
takes it for granted that you have a prep period. But we used to, in the early days, have preps, and we'd have students in our preps. At least I did.
Yeah.
Or if you were absent, or the music teacher was absent, all the music kids came in my room. Like,
Yeah,
it was kind of
I
crazy.
taught music class every
Yeah.
once in a while because I have a music
Or
background too. So
if-
then I would teach the music class if the music teacher was gone on my prep. I remember that first year too, or at least the first quarter, we didn't have any type of system to track our grades. So we had paper grades.
Yeah.
We had to like handwrite each of the report cards.
I have no memory of that.
So, as any small business that starts, people who have ownership in it, they work a lot harder. There's a lot more invested into it. I was part of a startup charter school with a lot of similar stories. And it sounds to me like if you were to put these stories on paper, it would sound miserable. I had to work during my prep. I had to do this. But when I hear you and feel you talking about that, it's like it seemed like a good thing. What changes over the years? Because if we were to ask,
I'm
teachers
fatter
could do
and have
that.
more gray hair.
And you may be more wise too.
I'm very wise.
This is always been
I'm wise that I don't know what I should know.
Yeah, what changes over time?
Well, things get to be more of a routine. I mean,
Okay.
certain systems get put in place, it's a little more organized. There's a process that you go through.
He means forms.
No, I'm not saying it's just in the first years, you really, in a sense, you really don't know what to expect.
Right.
I mean, even day to day, hour to hour, because it's all new. The students are there for the first time, you're there for the first time. And I need this, okay, so there's probably really nobody to turn to.
That
to get
appeals
it,
to my
you know.
pioneering spirit, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
but now, okay, if I have a particular need with something about grades, I know who to go to. You know, if there's something about special ed, we can have special ed. You know,
We
first
did.
time I'm sure we did,
Yeah,
but,
We did, Paul.
you know.
And they had very long meetings.
So it's just now, things kind of smooth out, you know, and it becomes, you know, a little more routine in a good sense, not routine in a bad sense.
I think it's
There's
comfort
there's
too.
support.
Yeah.
There's support.
You have comfort in what you're teaching because you know it, and you become an expert even more so every year. I think
Yeah.
you become more confident in what you're doing, and it makes it easier to get going every year.
I never taught before, so I mean, that was the first time I'd ever cracked a book. So, I mean, I say it's been 30 years since I
Right.
but I mean, it was basically a first teaching experience, and now, you know, whatever it is, 13 years later, it's a little easier to move into the next school year. And I mean, even if you're coming from a different school, it's a new set of books or whatever the case might be.
And it was the first time I really had my very own classroom, and I wasn't kind of like pushing into somebody else's room and stuff. So really got to make it my own. You know, we had guidelines, but really, I created everything.
Yeah.
You know, I
Created
bought
the
the text.
curriculum.
I researched and bought the textbooks. I ordered all of the science supplies with the budget I was given. There was absolutely nothing,
Right.
you know, walking in the door. So, and it really had a lot of control over that and become really invested in it. So,
Invested, yeah. Interesting.
I've really been able to refine it over the years more and more.
Not just our spaces and our curriculum and what we do, but we've also been a part of defining what does it mean classical education, what makes our school great, what are we trying to do, and being part of those discussions I've really enjoyed.
That's just simply evolved over
Right.
time.
Really become a believer over the years.
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
So seeing the school evolve and coming from the seeds that we began with and hearing all the different visions that people had and the people that weren't on board with our vision, they went on to something else. So this core, we just kind of grew together and feel like we're buds because we grew up together, you know?
Yeah, we did.
So I think one final question I want to ask, segue here, is what's an endearing value that you see at Eagle Ridge Academy that you saw in that 2004, 2005 that has really carried on and that you personally want to see carry on in the generation after you?
I would say, and this year is probably the biggest challenge for that to sustain itself, and you kind of alluded to it, Caroline, and that was sort of a camaraderie, knowing people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even last year we were still small enough that we knew everybody. At least I knew everybody in the upper school. The middle school, upper school, I can't say that I knew everybody, you know, in the lower school. At least I probably know a higher percentage of the people than I do now. So, you know, I think that's really been a very comforting thing that's carried through these first 8, 10, 12 years. And it's a challenge this year.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to be too specific. Numbers get too big.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Relationships.
But
Yes.
yeah, but those.
If it wasn't for that, it would be difficult to come to
Yeah.
school every day. I didn't
Yeah.
have the support of my colleagues, and I didn't feel I knew them or they knew me. And it seems like overall, everybody's pretty positive and wants to really invested in school and believe in what we do, and want to keep getting better at it and learn with each other. And if we didn't have that kind of mindset, I think, yeah.
And how I would differentiate that from having worked in a much larger organization. Yeah, you've got a group of people and acquaintances that you really enjoy working with, but you don't know all 3,000 people in the building, you know.
Right.
Whereas here,
We're a team.
we know everybody, you know,
Yeah.
and that's
I think
it's
it's
a challenge. It's really well, it's becoming a challenge, but really has been very special over the years.
I think what we value and cherish is not just our relationships with our fellow staff members, but we've been here long enough to see students matriculate, and then they come back and they visit. And
Yes.
that is precious to us. They come back at Thanksgiving break, at Christmas. We're friends with them on Facebook. They're married and have children, and they're teachers or they're...
We've got one on the board.
Right.
You
So,
know,
They
mean,
come back
right.
and work here, a teacher.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
or on staff. So to me, that it just seemed we realize, hey, they grow up and investing in the people. That's what we're really about.
I think that there's an excitement that the teachers have too. Like, they're excited about what they teach and being able to get others excited about it too. And I think that's one of the things that I've loved about here too, is that every single person who works here is excited about working with the students and is excited about getting the kids excited. You know, like, they have just this passion for what they do, but also the passion for giving that to students and having them kind of have that wonder and awe that comes with it. And that's, I think, one of the core things that our group has always done, no matter how small or throughout every single expansion that we've had, all 5 of them, you know, adding those new teachers every single time, they all have that same passion.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of Eagle Ridge Academy, I want to say thank you so much. I mean, for sticking through the tough times and for taking the risk to join the academy back in the day. I mean, if it wasn't for risk takers like you, for that pioneer spirit, we wouldn't be here today. And thank you so much, and we appreciate everything you do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.